Hello everyone, Dr. Eames here. This time I'd like to talk about business stakeholders and maybe run through some examples to really drive the point home. Now, stakeholders are all those people who really stand to gain and have some interest in you being successful in your business and all the activities or whatever it is that you're doing. Stakeholders includes quite a few different things, um, but really, when you think about it, it's about those who want you to succeed for what a variety of reasons. So let's just start with stockholders. Now, stakeholders and stockholders are not the same thing. Stockholders are people who own stock in your business, in your company. And the only way that you can issue stock is first you have to become a corporation. And then you have to go through the process, a legal one, where you issue an IPO, an initial public offering, and actually put some stock out there onto the market. But many businesses do have stockholders, and certainly one of the things that you're going to be concerned about in any business, particularly if you do have people who own stock, is that you want them to be happy. And so that means being profitable because you have to publish financial statements and they're going to look at them and so forth. If they're going to invest in your company, because certainly you make money when you sell your stock. And if the stock goes up, you make more money per share and so forth. So keeping your stockholders happy certainly is something you want to think about. The next most obvious stakeholder would be your customers. You want to keep your customers happy. You don't want them for just one sale, one time, or one service that you provided. You want them, from today's thinking, for their lifetime value to your company. And so you have to pay attention to what your customers want and need and cater to those needs. They are one of your most important stakeholders of all. Certainly the surrounding community that you operate in is a stakeholder. Even if it's nothing more than just they get a small little percentage of that sales tax you pay to the state when you provide services and sell products and so forth. Surrounding community benefits from you being in business versus having an empty suite that's vacant, not being profitable. So surrounding community really is something that you have to pay attention to. You want the people who are local to support your business or operations, and even if you're not selling to them directly, you certainly want to stay in good relations with those who are around where you're doing your operations. Although we don't always think of it this way, environmentalists are often stakeholders. They're not necessarily concerned whether or not you're profitable enough, but they are concerned about if you're following regulations properly, that are you harming the environment or not is what they're thinking about. And so there are always those watchdog groups out there who are sort of looking at your operation, see if you're violating any statutes, and even if you're not, maybe ready to point out that you're harming the environment in some way. Maybe people ought to pay attention to it. So in that sense, it is something that you have to pay attention to in the sense of other more powerful sort of stakeholders. Now, if you're making something, you may have a stakeholder in the dealers that you're using to sell your products. And so quite often these are retailers. It might be if you make something that you're sending it to a distributor who actually buys your products, puts them in their warehouse, and then promotes those products to a variety of different retailers. Those dealers are certainly stakeholders who you would want to keep happy, who you would want to give the best prices and best service and best quality and all of the things that make business work. As well, an obvious stakeholder has to be your employees. Think how much they have invested in you. This is where they get their paycheck. This is their sense of safety and so forth in their lives. And so even the families of employees are important stakeholders, and you simply never want to lose sight of that. Now, other stakeholders are not quite as close to you with a closer relationship, like employees and customers and so forth. On the other hand, you could have stakeholders and government leaders, and these could be local government leaders who you want to have a favorable impression of what you're doing, to be on your side in any kind of industry dispute or whatever. But you certainly do not want to be on the bad side of people in power. So they're more of a peripheral sort of stakeholder compared to many when you really think about it. Now, certainly we'd have to say our suppliers, the many little partners that we have, that we buy things from, that we get material from, are inputs coming in the door. Even if we're using an employment agency to help us find, recruit, select people to hire, and so forth, those are all suppliers of different sorts. And we need to pay attention to them. We need to cater to them. We need to work out the very best relationships if we want to succeed in business. The same goes for the people who finance our business, the local bank or credit union that's giving us a line of credit or a small loan if we need it to expand or get through some really hard economic times. So your banker, your credit union is certainly considered a stakeholder. And finally, maybe one that we normally wouldn't think of as a stakeholder would be the media that's out there. You would really expect that it would be great if you could get some favorable treatment from the local newspaper, even if it's so much as if you send them a press release saying you're opening another shift for workers, or you've started up this or that employee program. You've decided now you can afford to pay for a portion of their higher ed if they want to pursue it. The media, if they're friendly to you, will give you some coverage of, and it probably won't cost you anything. There's always community events that sometimes media outlets feel obliged to want to respond to. Okay, that's all I want to talk about this time, folks. I'll talk to you soon.